Keir Starmer has refused to rule out scrapping free bus passes and also council tax discounts for pensioners. This is in the budget next month on October the 30th. We know that, of course, 8.4 million people get their council tax discount for a single household. It's 25% off. It's a good few £100 a year. And with council tax bills threatening to go up, it could be a lot more. But half of those 8.4 million are retirees. Most of those widows. Their husbands have died, and that's why they live alone, and they're going to face a massive council tax hike just after having their winter fuel allowance taken from them. Well, let's talk about this with Justin Urquhart-Stewart, economist and chairman of the Regionally Investment Platform. Good morning to you, Justin.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you very much for joining us. I'm just wondering whether actually Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves are just planning to actually just go and sort of grab the food out of the hands of grannies at this rate, because the number of raids we seem to see on the income for those the elderly seem to just be non-stop. What do you make of these putative changes?
It reminds me of that line, one of the lines from one of the Who's records, "I hope I die before I get old." We were going to get penalised if you were, as a pensioner. What else are they going to take? No, this is absolutely ridiculous. What you ought to try and do is actually try and incentivise people then to actually provide some extra support. So, for example, you can actually go back to actually Roman days with taxation where you incentivise for it. How do you actually do that? Well, you can actually say, how about giving you a benefit with your inheritance tax in future? You'll get X percentage knocked off if you're willing to actually participate and help those people who are going to find this time really difficult. It turns taxation from a negative into a positive, without necessarily actually costing the government any money, because what it's doing is actually just making sure money is coming from the area which they actually got it.
I mean, there's a whole narrative about all these wealthy pensioners. Look, my parents are both 81 years old and they don't need a single penny from the government. They've been lifelong taxpayers. They are doing just fine. They don't need a winter fuel, they don't need their bus pass. I think it's quite absurd that my parents should get a free bus pass and be given any of these winter fuel. Of course it is. But there's this narrative that so many pensioners are well off. A million, what is it? I would say a quarter of all pensioners are actually, millionaires. But again, the value of their home, but they're not living off the value of their home there and then, are they? Yep. And the thing is, that ignores the fact there are millions who aren't that well off. In fact, many living really, scrimping and saving. They may be doing okay, but that's because they've worked hard, they've done the right thing, they've put some money by, and they're the ones who are going to be hit by all of these different hits. Because if you're the lowest income on pension tax credit, that opens a door to a huge number of other benefits, doesn't it, including that council tax discount?
Yeah, but again, what you could also do with some of these benefits, if you want to do it a simple way, is actually add it to your tax bill, make it taxable, so that people who've got money like me, what do I need a winter allowance for? This is a waste of time.
Those red braces don't come cheap, to be fair, Justin.
But you think that all the transport benefits that you get and other ones you can actually get other benefits, this is all the wrong way round. What you can do is actually make sure the money, there's no shortage of money in this country, it's just in the wrong place or not being used efficiently enough to actually help the situation.
There is this trade-off, though, isn't there, between, again, the argument over the winter fuel allowance as well, it's about means testing. I was always told by people who worked in government, look, there are lots of benefits which are universal, for years, child benefit and things like the winter fuel allowance. It's because actually it costs so much and is so complicated to administer. If you means test it, you're going to miss out some people who do need it, as with pension credits, and basically you spend more doing the administration than you actually save from the people who don't really need it getting it. And that's the territory we're in now, isn't it?
It is, because actually, again, look to the simplest way of trying to do this without having to reinvent anything. You put it as part of your effective income tax. So those people who are in a position where they're going to pay, it could just come off that if they can afford it, depending what level of, if you're higher rate, or maybe make a significantly higher rate of income tax, hitting those people who are the wealthiest coming through, because actually they won't miss it. Actually, they'd probably like to help. You could even give people a reward in terms of actually supporting locally, having, good heavens, have a statue named after yourself or something like that. Make sure actually appeal to people's ego and their greed, because actually what they're doing is actually being recognised for paying someone for their travel. Seems odd, but actually, fun enough, it does work.
Love that. Thank you very much. Justin Urquhart-Stewart, economist, chairman of the Regionally Investment Platform, in his beautiful red braces. Easily that can be covered by winter fuel allowance.